All right. So today, what I'd like to manifest and setting my intention is to help everybody learn that if there's something that you want in life, something that you're visualizing, something that you're dreaming about, something that you feel intuitively is meant to be yours, but for some reason you're feeling blocked, that we're going to learn some tools and tips in the manifestation tricks and trades of the subconscious mind. So, my belief system is that it's one thing to just want it, it's another to actually make it happen. And we're going to talk about how to get your whole mind, body, and energy aligned to create these things in your life. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip back and forth between the class tutorial and the notes and everything. Let me make sure. Okay, there we go. Uh, I agree. Everyone's probably in their last minute holiday mode, but and that's great. Like this is why we film it, right, Beverly? Is that sometimes you just can't make it. So it's wonderful that these will be available and evergreen within the site. So, and I know this is our last class together, or so you thought, but I am chatting with the network about continuing to do some work and maybe just like weekly hypnosis sessions with everybody. So yay, spirit fingers. Okay, so today's class, like I mentioned, is manifestation. This is me, all things hypnosis. Real manifestation, despite what everyone wants to believe, there are doubts and fears and resistance and things that come up in the process. So, manifestation is in some ways the energy and the alignment that needs to happen in order for actions to take place. But within that process, there are a lot of things that do come up, such as emotions, which we're going to talk about. And manifestation is not a mystical skill. It's the compounding effect of perceptions, beliefs, behaviors, and identity over time. So, we're going to get more into what that means, but I want to make sure that everyone, I had a friend back in the day who would always be like, oh, my future husband's going to find me and I'm just going to be sitting on the couch. And I was like, that's not kind of how this works. You have to be taking action and putting your energy out there and making sure you're visualizing what you want and all these things for it to happen. And I have a funny story. I think I've told you guys on a prior one, but when I was manifesting my husband, I really went in to get so specific. And I put even on there, I was like, I want him to have an accent. Because in my mind, I was very clear that the accent was British and ended up getting someone with a little bit of a Southern twang. So I was like, oh man, everything else literally check box, check box, check box. It was wild. But I was like, oh, I should have been more clear, British. Damn. So, all right. So let's jump in. So these are the 8 phases of manifestation that we're going to go through, right? We're going to go define your vision. Very important. Observe limiting beliefs, build your who, emotions and energy, reprogramming, inspired action, surrender, receive, and acknowledge. Now, there are going to be times throughout this process that you're going to go through where you're going to have to go back to certain phases to rejigger it a little bit. But these are the basic steps. And a lot of these are going to sound familiar because they're things that we've talked about before, right? Visions, being intentional, asking for what you want, what's important about you, what you want. Observing limiting beliefs. We've talked about limiting beliefs before. Building your who. I think that was a whole class that we did previously also. So feel free to go back, tap into those notes, tap into those videos. Emotions and energy. We've talked about that. Reprogramming is really the hypnotic portion of it. Self-hypnosis, which we did last time. Inspired action, right? What is action potential and how do you get it? How do you create it? How do you sustain it? Surrendering. That's a scary one, right? Letting go of the control of what we all think. And how do we receive and acknowledge, right? When things are working and when they're not. So this is what we're going to go over today. We're going to go step by step and point by point. At the end, we're going to get to doing sort of a group hypnotic session. Also on my YouTube channel, which is just Alexandra Janelli on the YouTube pages. There is a great manifestation hypnosis session that I put up there that you can also listen to, which is great. So let's get into this. Defining your vision, right? In the universe and with many things in life, it is so important to be clear in what you want, right? As I said, I wanted a British accent with my husband. I forgot to put that. I got a husband with a little bit of a Southern accent, but everything else was there in the checked box. So the clearer that you can get in what it is you want, the better that you're going to be able to manifest it, right? Clarity creates direction. And without clarity, energy just gets scattered, right? Think about this just in everyday life, right? When we're not clear what we're doing, we're kind of throwing energy around. We're unfocused. We're all over the place. So it's really important that when we're manifesting, we have the ability to step back, look at the big picture. It's like, where do I want to go in the world, right? What is it that I want to accomplish? And then we can take that as a big picture and begin to get more granular. So, a lot of what you're going to be doing is getting clear. It's not meant to be perfect. It's supposed to, at this point, be a speculation of like, right now, in this moment, at this time, this is what I want. This is why I want it, and this is how I think I might be able. You don't even get into how you're going to get it, but we just want to be clear. This is what the vision looks like. What does it look like around me? How will it feel when I get it? All of these things, we want it to not be abstract. So if you're answering questions and looking through like your visual, where it's like, oh, I'm going to California. California is a really big state, right? It's like, well, what part of California and what does it look like there? What will it feel like when you're there? Get granular, get into the nitty gritty details and specifics. And that should be really helpful. Now, underneath, you're going to see on the bottom here, there's going to be 3 white boxes. These are tips and tools that you can utilize for doing it, right? One thing that's important when we begin to define our vision, and it's the same thing when I have clients come into my office that want to create change, is asking the question, why now? What was it that spurred wanting this now? Maybe it has been going on for a while, but something caused you to want to like figure out how to manifest it now. Something triggered you to want to do the work. Something inspired you, caused you fear, maybe made you worry. Figure out what it is that is really pushing forward your momentum to accomplish and achieve and manifest, right? Why now? And then we're going to get into what questions, right? We want to utilize the dig down tool because underneath our visions, our wants, our dreams are those emotions. And we're going to get into that a little bit more, but it's important to really dig through like, what is it that is inspiring me internally to want this? Right? Because it's one thing to say, oh, I want to, it's a wonderful goal. For example, when I started my first private practice, it was really important to me. For some reason, I really wanted to buy this Cartier watch. I couldn't afford it, right? But I said, when I've made it and I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna buy myself that Cartier watch. That'll be a sign and like my symbol that I've made it and I've been successful. And it's not about the watch, right? It's never about the physical thing that you get. It's about an emotion. We chase emotions. And so we'll get into a little bit more of that, but like we want to know as we dig down, what is that inner flame that it's lighting up, right? It's like feeling pride or excitement or, what belief systems and core values is it tapping into, what fears and what about that's important, right? So we want to use the dig down tool and also asking what questions. And the more that you can understand your visions, not only in the clear picture of it, in the imagination of it, in the role playing of it, you want to understand internally what that brings up for you as well. Any questions on this yet? Right. Okay, good. If you're still typing, that's okay. Welcome to whomever just joined us. Oh, they popped out, but they'll probably pack back in. And let's go on to the next slide then. All right. So we've talked about limiting beliefs before. We had a whole class that even tapped into them. Limiting beliefs are a conclusion that our mind and nervous system have drawn that form from past experiences, and they quietly determine what feels possible, safe, or allowed, right? So our limiting beliefs might be I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. A lot of the should, supposed tos. These belief systems are things that our subconscious uses to keep us safe, but they actually block us from moving forward. And so when you think about your goal, right now that we have our vision crystal clear, put onto paper. I love a good journal sesh on this. Get it on paper, put it somewhere so you can see it. Don't throw it out, right? The next step is to go, when I think about having this, what comes up for me? Maybe there's a belief of, if I have this, it sounds like it'll be a lot of work. There might be a fear that comes up for you, or a belief system of, it's too hard, or people will not like me then, right? I've had a lot of clients who come into my office who, they're like, when I'm successful, I'll have a lot of money. And I think really poorly of people who have a lot of money. I think they're jerks, right? And that's an interesting belief system, because it probably does come from somewhere really, in the past. And it might, in fact, be very important to that person to have that belief system. Maybe it kept them safe in some way. But at this point, if they want to manifest a much more stable career, more maybe a higher salary, but it comes with fears, we have to address those fears, because those blocks, these limiting beliefs are going to keep popping up. And if they keep popping up, they're going to be the things that are going to continually derail you. And so I'm not asking you to go in and like be afraid of your limiting beliefs. Awareness is always the first step in the process. Awareness is very important, that it's like, I'm having these thoughts. Don't judge them. Don't stress about them. Let's just allow them to be there so we can work through them. Right. So remember, limiting beliefs don't stop manifestation. Unexamined beliefs do, right? So we want to give ourselves permission to examine what comes up for us when we think about manifesting all these things. Funny enough, I was having, I've been trying to manifest, really bringing in like capital for my app. And there was this, and I think in my mind, there's a difference between, like, I'm building something and then it actually taking off and happening. And when I think about it taking off and happening, instead of feeling really excited and uplifted, I actually get really anxious, because it's like whole nother type of work that needs to be done. It's a whole nother me that needs to show up, not just to be the brand, but to also move a brand forward. And so all of these things, it's like, I can certainly be unaware and just keep living my life day to day doing the work. But if I don't inspect these things in my life, then I'm not going to be able to shift them, change them, address the underlying beliefs, right? And so maybe the truth is, right, the belief system is, it's going to be really hard, and maybe I'm not capable of doing this type of work. Maybe, right, you get the whole spiraling what ifs. But if I can address that it's going to be hard work, I'm not sure I'm capable of it. What am I not capable of? What would it look like to set myself up for success, right? And then you can use your dig down tool and the what if questions to really begin to shift that, to understand, who do I need to be? What do I need to support me? What is it that I need to feel that I can do this, and stuff like that too. So, and once we see something clearly, it loses its power, right? Once we expose and uproot like what these buried fears are and where they come from, they just don't have the intensity anymore. And we can choose what we want to do about it too, right? And so, couple things that you can really look for in the tool category is, where are your yes buts, or yeah, but, right? You're going to heal yourself when you're talking in conversation with people, that there's going to be these yeah, but moments. And if you know the statement that it's like, anything that comes after a but negates what came before it, right? So it's like, I am so excited about my app becoming this great big thing and da 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 da. But, right? The truth is what's coming after the but. The truth is, it's like, but I don't feel prepared. I don't feel ready. And I'm not, all of these things. And that's where the work is. That's the block for the manifestation. So look for your yeah buts. Might come out in different like terminology or language, but that's the general gist of what we're looking for when you're thinking through, or even when you're journaling. Pattern tracking. Have you gone through something like this in the past? What patterns keep popping up? The not good enough, the avoidance, what other coping mechanisms are coming up to help keep you safe and protected? What is safe about, if you are blocking yourself from manifestation? Why? What about this place is safe? And what about the future is also safe, so that we can let go of those beliefs as well? And then we want to look for sensation versus story. Listen to your body. when you begin to think about your future, your vision, what it is you want, where do you get that tightness? Where do you start tapping your foot or feel your eyes start to like withdraw? Body language. I can tell when a client, when I'm talking with them, if something feels uncomfortable because they withdraw. They sometimes will pull back, sink in, cover up, hunch inward, downward, protecting. Listen to your body. You can also, if you're working with a friend, help them by noticing their body language as well. So these are all really great things, right? We want to understand where are the blocks so that we can manage them. We don't want to hurt them. We don't want to harm them. They're there to keep us safe, but it's like we're big kids now and we don't need these safety mechanisms anymore. I meant to tell everybody quickly, let me pull down this thing. I pulled a verbal insight card for us today. And funny enough, one of them was stuck to the other, and even more interestingly. So let's go over the first one. The first one is the lunar lullaby card, right? You can see that it has a girl sleeping on it with the moon and the stars, and she's reaching for the star and the moon. And what's really interesting about this card, I love this card for today, because it's all about dreaming and to dream big and to be clear and to put yourself into the hands of the universe and allow yourself in these dark moments, right? Because darkness, the moon cannot shine brightly without darkness. And so in the darkness, we are allowed to begin to ask for what it is we want, dream big, visualize it, imagine it, and harness our inner power. Now, what was also interesting is that I pulled the Quantum Quasar card. And a quasar, if you don't know this, is like a huge, extraordinarily bright ball of light within the cosmos. If I understood it correctly when I read it and like did all the research on this, it is like a black hole that just keeps pulling in matter, but it shines so brightly. It's almost like this massive illumination. And when we are these quantum light, the most amazing things can manifest. And so this being coggled in with the lunar lullaby is showing us that we have the capability that when we go inward, when we ask for what we want, when we shine our light the brightest, even in the darkness, that we can find our way forward. So I want that, and I hope that this can become really exciting and inspiring for everybody, right? That these steps, if we can follow them in our manifestation journey, like going inward is the first step, and to not be afraid of it. So I'm going to add back to the stage our little journey here. We're going to progress on to step 3, building your who. Right? We've talked about the who, that when we look at ourselves in life, we have to start with who am I? Right? And then we add in the exterior layer of the who is, what is the world around me and how do I relate to that? When we build our who, we want to look at what are my core values, my belief systems, what are the things I like and don't like. And when I act from a place of genuine authenticity, right? When I hear my body talk and I listen and I behave in a manner that feels genuine without coping mechanisms or belief systems blocking me, what does that look like, feel like? And importantly, right, if there is a limiting belief that's coming up, what does that part of me look like? We can put them in the room with us as like almost like a third party. It's like, let me take my anxious or fear self out and imagine them sitting here in a chair with me so that I can help them. It's not me, the rational, reasonable, logical adult. It is my fear self. They come up when there's a need, right? Like children don't just cry out of for nothing. They cry when they have a need. A baby cries when it has a need, it's hungry. And so your anxiety comes up when there's a need that's not being addressed. So the more we can get to know our who's, we can begin to understand, who am I under stress? Who am I in great joy? Who am I at a wedding? Who am I when sadness hits? And all of these things are normal and they're okay, right? We don't want to judge. We just want to understand, who do I want to be when I'm manifesting? What is required of me? And who do I believe that I would like to show up as in order to do this? You can also start at the end to go, when I have what it is that I've manifested, how will I feel? Right? That feeling, we're chasing that feeling. We don't chase goals, we chase the emotion that it brings us. And so you want to understand, like, who am I when I've accomplished this? And how do I show up as that person every darn day moving forward? Now, I hate to break it to you, you're not going to show up as that person every single day because every single day is different and it's going to bring its different challenges and stresses, right? We know when we took the energy class that energy shifts, right? And we're going to talk about that in a couple of slides, but energy shifts. So sometimes you might be met with stress. It can shift us, right? That outer ring to our inner core can make us bend, move, get uncomfortable. And so we just, again, it's always staying in track and checking in with who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I get back to my balance and alignment under these circumstances? If it's not possible, then what can I do? It's taking the control in those ways to know that you have options because the more options you have, the more in control you can feel. The less options you have, the more that you are a victim to your circumstances. And we want to make sure that you can shift that energy. But remember, just as when you go into a stress state, we want to make sure that your mind understands there's nothing wrong with going into those lower frequency energies. Is a temporary place, but how quickly do you move through it and what gets you out? And that's what we want to make sure that we are focusing on is let me go there, let me identify it, what's it showing me, how do I feel when I'm here, and now where would I like to be and who do I become in that moment? Or hi anxious self or fear self or angry self, what do you need? What's going on? How can I move you forward? How can I help you? Versus shaming or blaming. Why are you here? Stop being anxious. It's so stupid. The fear, blah, blah, blah. It's all reasonable. Given what you've gone through, given what you know, all of that stuff, be kind, be patient with yourself. So let's look at this slide, right? Manifestation doesn't fail because people don't want something badly enough. It fails because the current identity can't hold the outcome, right? So if you are stuck in this inner loop of, let's say, I'm not smart enough to run a business and you're building a business, if you keep defaulting under stress to I'm not smart enough to run a business, that business is not going to grow, right? You have to keep aligning to I'm someone who's capable, I'm confident, I got this, I can do this. And again, it's not just knowing it and thinking it, it's reprogramming it in your subconscious mind, right? We know the subconscious is super powerful, isn't it? Because it's the part of you that really is the reactive parts, the emotional part. It's the 95% of us, 95% of the mind that functions every day. It's not logical, it's not reasonable, it's not rational. It just wants to keep us safe. And if it's safe, it'll keep doing it. So we want to show our future self that the future, when we have these things, it is safe. It feels good. It's okay. And I will learn as I go, right? The belief systems may be like, I don't know how to do that yet. You don't, but you'll learn. You're a capable human who can and will learn. So remember, disappointment and doubt will be part of the process, but we keep checking in and how to shift those. So building your who is the bridge to desire and reality. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about transforming. It's about releasing outdated roles and rules that you've been living from, right? So, what I want you to do with the tools at the bottom, it's sort of like look at your have tos, supposed tos, shoulds. Like, who am I supposed to be? Who should I be? How do those feel? Check them against a feeling. And if those, it's like, I should be a CEO or I should be, this responsible adult. If those don't feel right, ask yourself what about them doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just the terminology. I know when I'm manifesting, a lot of people throw the word abundance around. Abundance doesn't resonate with me, but the word wealth does. And so it's sometimes just tweaking the language to be programmed in your language, right? Check it against the vision. Does the vision feel right? This is not going to be a logical thing. I think it sounds right. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Check yourself. Does it feel right? Does it sit with you? Does it excite you? Or does it make you want to cave in? What comes up for you? And when I have this, how am I going to feel about myself, right? This is the in relation to portion. When I have this, how will others see me? How will I see me? How will I feel about how others see me, right? There's a lot of different dynamics because, like, you might feel great that you've made a lot of money, for example, but what if other people don't like you? What if that's your biggest fear, is that people will judge me, people will always want something from me, I can't trust anybody, right? That is a belief system that's coming up in relation to others that would need to be worked on in order to manage that. Or it's creating boundaries and setting boundaries for yourself as well, so that your who can feel comfortable. We want to address that in the who am I. Okay, we're going to go on to the next slide. Does anyone have any questions? Awesome. All right. So here we are getting into the emotions and energy, right? Emotions are energy. They fuel our thoughts, they shape our actions. If you guys remember, right at the bottom in the middle, you're going to see the change equation. Every thought that we have is going to come, right? Plus, right? Thought plus emotion, right? It's going to come with an emotion, and it's going to lead to an action or an inaction that we take, right? So as we begin to think about manifestation and the things that we want to make sure that our thoughts are aligning with our emotions, so that the action, which is the next step, can be aligned. So we always want to make sure that we are rebalancing the loop of this, making sure that everything feels right. And if it doesn't feel right on some level, try not to judge it. Yeah, emotions are energy in motion. Exactly. I love that. It's so true. And energy, right? When we look at energy, it's molecular. It's it's creating momentum, and it's creating action, and the actions are then what are going to create the opportunities for things to align and come into your life, right? Energy is everything. You can feel when there's negative energy, you want to move away from it, right? um, you can feel when there's positive energy, you want to move toward it, right? Anabolic, catabolic energy. We just need to choose when we need the catabolic to break things down, right? Because there might be things that as you're moving forward in your vision, that you have to stop, and you have to go, something right now doesn't feel right. The vision needs to be shifted. That was what the vision was then, but we have more data. We need to shift it again. So you're going to find that this loop, this cycle of like the different steps, there are going to be moments in the process that you need to step back and go back to the vision, tweak the vision so that it can feel good moving forward. And you're going to check in with the energy of it, right? It's not about control. This is about balancing and rebalancing the energy of your desires. And it's learning to work with them, right? Emotions are there. They demand to be felt. They're very hard to bury, because you can do it. And that is a skill. It is a coping mechanism. There are going to be times when you're going to have to push them down and get through things. That is true. It is a great coping mechanism to have. But if you don't keep them checked, right, it's kind of like burying stuff underneath the carpet. The carpet is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're going to not be able to avoid it until it is a huge mess. So, again, emotions, feel them. They're talking to you. What part of you, where are they coming from? Is it you as a child? Is it you as like your future self? Is it a fear? Is it a worry? Is it a stressor? Is it excitement? Even tap into the good energy emotions, right? When you feel inspired, doesn't the world feel like your oyster? Don't you feel like you could work? You don't even need to sleep. You're like, I'm just so pumped. I want to stay up. I want to keep going. It's endless energy. And then the moment that you're sort of feeling drained, it doesn't feel good. It kicks you downward. And it's like, oh gosh, right? So again, we want to make sure that we keep going back and balancing the loop. Keep going back to your vision, your who. Do any of those need to be shifted or changed? Do any of those need to be realigned? Your emotions and energy, are they aligning with what everything you talked about? Keep your change equation. Every thought that I have comes with an emotion. If change the thought, it'll change the emotion. It'll change the outcome. So, and then you can use in the energy levels, right? The class that we talked about, if you're having a hard time sort of sitting with the deeper emotions, go back to that chart that's in there and learn how to shift the emotion again. That it's okay to go into those low frequencies, but what would it feel like to shift them out and go upward, right? Because as we know, when we go inward stress wise, it is full ego, right? It's hard to sort of connect to the world around you. It's all about you, and that's okay. Honor when your body and your mind need that, because you do need to go inward to shift things before you can come outward and fully expand. But let's make sure that when we are ready to expand, we know what we're expanding for. We're going to be connecting, we're going to be balanced, we're going to be open, we're going to be that beautiful light and energy. And that is so exciting and awesome. So, any questions? We're going to pause there really quick. I'm just going to pull my hair out of my face because it's driving me crazy. Cool. All right. So, the next one is, so this is how we do a rebalancing loop, right? Check in with your energy. What am I feeling right now, right? The things that are going to trigger you to need to rebalance are the fears going to keep coming up again, or something's just not going to be right, feel right for you. So connect, right? Check what am I feeling right now? Check your energy, right? Reconnect to your want and desire. Is that still what I want? And it might not be. And that is okay. Remember, what you want is going to change day to day, week to week, month to month. It might be the same, but it also might change. And that we have to honor that, because every day we move forward, we have new information. And that is why. Observe your belief systems. What story is this emotion feeding to be causing this emotion within me? Come back to center, right? Slow down, ground, regulate, listen to a hypnosis recording, do some self hypnosis with yourself, phone a friend, get some feedback, and repeat the visual, right? Once you're back in center and get the vision clear. Does the vision feel right? If not, tweak it a bit, right? And then repeat the visual. See yourself moving forward anyway. Does anything need to be tweaked or clarified? And do it again, right? Whatever needs to be changed is okay. You can even use the dig down. What about it's not working for me? What would I like to change? And what difference does that make? Again, the more you ask the what questions, not why, we can get to the bottom of it. And rinse and repeat. The reprogramming part. The subconscious doesn't learn through instruction, it learns through experience, right? We've talked about this before, of how the neural networks work within the mind, that your subconscious, from the moment that you're born until today, learns through experience and association. The subconscious mind does not care about your happiness, it cares about your safety. And so it is always going to do what it believes will help keep you safe, even if it is blocking you now based on what you want. Because again, if the block was programmed to keep you safe as a child, it will keep showing up until the adult you is like, let's reprogram this, let's shift this. We have to first bring awareness to it that it's no longer working. We have to be aware it's a child experience that you're having, right? You're acting like a child. How many times did you hear that as a maybe an adult? It's like, well, yeah, because that's when my trigger was placed. And so we have to go back and reprogram these things, know that it's safe to let them go, know that it is safe and okay to move forward with a new programming. And again, because coping mechanisms can't just be ripped away, we have to provide a better one, right? So I don't need this anymore, because I am an adult and I am confident that I know how to learn. I am comfortable that I can figure things out, or I have a network of people that I can call for support, etc. So you're not convincing yourself of something new. You're rehearsing a reality until it feels familiar. And again, because the subconscious mind works in visuals and images, right? The more that we can close our eyes, take our visual to go, who am I when, let's say you're a horseback rider and you're like, I do that perfect line and I jump over those fences and the horse is perfect. I have my gait right. I have the striding right and everything. It's like, what does that look like? Feel like the rhythm. Even if you're a golfer, right? Or a tennis player, it's like we're mentally rehearsing. It fires the same neurons. And so as you do it like really well and like to a T in what you're visualizing, the more your mind and body become comfortable with it. And what's familiar, right, becomes believable. What's believable becomes actionable. Actionable becomes sustainable, right? Because when you feel comfortable doing the action, you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again, and it just becomes your norm. So these are all really exciting things. Be the ball, Danny. Yes, be the ball, Danny. That's right. And again, like it's be the ball, visualize the ball. You're just, even the visual of it, it's like a lemon test, right? If anyone hasn't heard about the lemon test, The lemon test is where you visualize and imagine a lemon in front of you, and you imagine cutting it open, and you imagine bringing it up to your mouth, and you imagine biting into it. Now, a lot of people will get that like your mouth will start to salivate and your tight jaw gets tight. Um, but it just shows the power of like that visualization. When I think about, for example, needles, my legs tingle. Or when I think about taking a shot of apple cider vinegar, because Lord knows why we do that in the mornings, um, makes my mouth go, and like I can feel it, I can taste it. Just that thought has the ability to trigger a response. And so if we can be that suggestible to our thoughts, imagine what telling ourselves these horrible things can do. But also, what about the flip side? What if we could really excite ourselves to really tap into these positive thoughts and what those can provide and produce too? So at the bottom are your tools, your self hypnosis, Go Burble, which is my app. Also, reading a script. Go in, if there's something that you really want, go into ChatGPT, write the visual down, and ask it to turn it into a hypnotic suggestion for you. Go and read it because reading is a hypnotic state. Have the ChatGPT talk about like the very clear visual of what you want it to look like and be like, and that way you can read it as if it were a story being written for you about you, right? It's like Alexandra like saw herself one day doing da 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 da, and it's like, oh, have it read it, have it write your story. Okay, inspired action. Trust your intuition, make moves, create opportunities, right? As I said, action is important because you cannot just be sitting on your couch hoping that the perfect job is going to land on your lap without doing anything. It's not how it works. You have to be up creating opportunities. You have to have your wants, you have to have your vision, you have to have the energy, and now we have to be creating opportunities. So, inspired actions, what happens when thoughts and emotions align? It's not hustle, it's momentum, and it's a momentum coming from the right place. Because a lot of us are beginning to act from a place of, right? And this is where you're going to see the tool at the bottom acting from. Am I acting from a place of fear or inspiration or other, right? Because there are two ways to be oriented, right? We can certainly get our we can certainly jump off a cliff because there is a gun at our back, right? We are scared. There's something, if I don't do this, then this will happen. Therefore, I better. There's also, I cannot wait to jump off this cliff. It's really exciting. It's going to be right into this beautiful ocean. I can't wait. Let's do it. The more excited that you are, you're going to find that your emotions and everything is aligned. It makes it feel so easy. It's like you can just roll down the tracks. If you're having resistance, again, we need to go back and check our loop. Is it the vision that's off? Is it my who do I need to be that it's off? Who do I need to step into? What role? Right? Is it the energy that's off? Are my emotions off? Right? How do I manage that to get it all aligned? Because once we're aligned, the path becomes much clearer. Who do I need to talk to get support to move this forward? What do I need comforting in? What decisions need to be made? Say yes or no, right? These are all showing up consistency. This is where you're planting seeds, actions. And it does not have to be these huge grand gestures. It can be little things, right? Talk to people. Manifestation happens when we create, right? When we begin to talk about it, when we begin to like believe it ourselves, it then becomes a truth. So we want to make sure that we're staying in this orientation, right? This is where we go into action orientation. Are we looking big picture, right? That's outcome orientation. I want to get to California. Or are we going to be in the present going, right now, in order to get to California, I need to first buy a ticket, right? And making it, it's like, I just need to be present in order to get there. So, where am I acting from? Always you can tap into the equation for change. Again, that thought plus emotion equals action. All of this stuff is going to manifest movement, and you're not going to have fear to take movement. Maybe you have like a little resistance, but it's going to be, fear is always there. Doubt is part of the process, but it's going to be at a place where the level is so low. It's on like a 1 out of 10 versus like an 8 or 9 that you can move through it without having to worry about it. It's just sort of like a background hum that doesn't even bother you, right? So we're not trying to eradicate fears or worries or doubts. We're trying to be aware of them, lessen them, get aligned with who we want to be to move forward, right? And remember, not every action creates immediate results, but every aligned action creates direction. And the direction is very important because we want to make sure we keep moving, but we also have to be available. This is where we're going to get to the next one of when things don't go the way I planned it. So, action, right? And those opportunities are going to present themselves. You're going to be looking, you're going to chatting, talking with other people too. Check if there are any comments, questions. Okay, great. All right, the last step. Surrender, surrender. Let go is the shift from managing outcomes to allowing results. If you find that you are having a very hard time letting go, the truth is that you are probably coming from a place of fear. And that is okay. Again, we're not here to judge it. We're not here to tell you that it's right or wrong. It's here to tell you that something's not working. And it might be you, but it also might be one of your experiences around you that are not working for you, right? Is it the environment? Is the people that you're engaged with? Is it the environment? Is the weather? Is it your pants are too tight? What about it is not working? And so we have to go back. And remember, trust is not blind faith. This is not, throwing yourself into the thrust of something crazy blindly. It's learn, open your eyes, observe, become aware, ask questions, right? It's not waiting without action, right? It's not my friend on the couch going, "Oh, he'll find me." I'm like, "He's not going to find you on the 34th floor in a Manhattan building if you're not leaving or putting yourself out there." Right? It's not ignoring fear. It's not pretending everything is okay. It's not a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Sure, that could work, but that's again, you're using logic, your willpower, not the subconscious. It's believing it, feeling it, right? And so if you can trust, and again, it's whether you believe in God, the universe, energy, whatever it might be, the more that you can tap into that, you're going to not feel as alone, right? Everyone talks about it's like God has a plan, the universe has a plan for me. If that's true, that can truly shift you out of that very ego, myopic minded place to being like, I've done my work. I'm now aligned and energized with the universe. And now I can let them take over, right? I can trust that if I've done my work, all of this is going to manifest and what's meant for me is going to come to me. And so it's really just allowing that to happen and repeating that pattern over and over and over again, because the more that you repeat it, the stronger it becomes, right? Those neural networks begin to fire together. So tools right at the bottom, fear versus trust, right? Where am I coming from? What's coming up? Check your energy also. Energy checks are so imperative and so important. And again, we don't judge emotions. We just allow them to be there and then we work with them. So again, what's the difference between trust and control? Control is driven by fear, right? If we want to control everything, we are coming from a place of fear, forcing outcomes. It's overthinking every move. It's lightning when uncertainty appears. It's tightening up, right? You're feeling your body like tightening, and you can just notice it. And the more we become aware of it, the better we can become, right? And trust, when you trust someone, it's like you just feel safe, you feel comfortable, and let those be your guides, right? Clarity, energy, all of that stuff. Let those be your guides manifestation. Do not feel like you are not in control. You are in control of being able to manage these things and to make them your own. And finally, receive and acknowledge. This is truly the last step. Manifestation doesn't end when something arrives, it stabilizes it when it's received. It shows that, like, I've arrived, I'm receiving it, it's working. Let those be your wins. Celebrate small wins, big wins too. Take timing, right? We have to take the timing off, right? The universe has a plan. It is not going to happen on your time frame. Just because you want $100 today doesn't mean it's going to happen today. The universe is going to deliver it when you need it. So many people subconsciously block this phase of receiving and acknowledging because they downplay wins. I am definitely a victim to that. Moving the goalposts, right? We keep creating different goals, making them bigger and bigger so that we never accomplish them. We create new problems. We return to old patterns. right? It's receiving requires presence, not performance. We need to be present. We need to be real. We need to be in the moment. This is happening for me. Really means this is safe to have. It is safe to have success. It is safe to have what I want. And it's safe to have that because this is who I am. And I don't have the belief systems holding me back anymore where they used to. So you don't do this once. You do this every time you grow, right? You're going to keep going back through the loops. You're going to keep growing. You're going to keep moving, shaking, keep subconsciously shifting, doing the work internally so that you can align externally. There are also, just so you guys know, with my app Go Burble, which a couple of you are using, and I'm so grateful that you are, there are 2 programs within the app, Manifestation, which is on the left, but there's also Danielle Massey worked with me to create her manifestation program in the app. She is a shadow worker who is just magical. So we also created that too. And those are both available. $4.99 a month, goburble.com if you want to download it. It's in both app stores. That's $4.99 a month. Yes, less than a cup of coffee, which is insane. All right, so we have about 12 minutes, and I'm just going to read these comments. I realize that I cannot simply be the ball in the area of life that I want the change. I need to be the ball all around in every aspect of my life, just not one area. That's really powerful to recognize too. And remember, like, to be the ball might look different in different places, right? So to be the ball, if you're a football, is going to look very different when you're playing football than if you're the ball and you're soccer. So like you will show up differently in different places, different circumstances, but it's always remembering internally who is that shows up when the shit gets tough. So Claire, be the ball, but remember the ball can sometimes deflate. And when it does, like, who do you want to be? Those are the key moments in our growth period. Oh, and thank you for saying that about the app. So here's what we're going to do. All right, I'm going to close the screen, put myself back up here fully, and I'm going to invite each of you. I want you to think about one key characteristic before we go into the hypnotic state. I want you to think about one key characteristic that is important to you when you think about manifesting what you want, right? So for me, it truly is the word, and it can be more than one. Like for me, it's trust is really important because it takes the onerous portion off of me altogether, like helps me build something connected. It's not just me and me alone. And also confidence, right? I need to be confident that whatever is meant for me will be mine, and that's good. And so think about what those words are. And you can always add more as when we get into the hypnotic state. But once you do, I just want you to close your eyes. We're just going to do a nice light hypnotic state right now. And I want you to feel the breath moving through your nose up into your forehead. And as you blow it down and away, let your shoulders fall, let your stomach relax. Let your body begin to melt and drift down. And I want you to do that 2 more times. And each time that you exhale, feel your body sinking deeper and deeper. Good. Now what I'd like you to do is in your mind's third eye, right there in the center of your forehead, I'd like you to visualize, imagine, picture, or pretend that you're standing at the top of a staircase with 10 steps. Might be a very clear image or just a thought because you've been on a staircase before. But I'd like you to imagine what it would be like to go down the steps one at a time. And what I'm going to do is count. And I'm going to count from 10 down to 0 each step you go down. I'd like you to pay attention to how the body feels as it moves one step at a time down. Each step you go down, you're going to feel your body relaxing more and more. And it'll feel as we get to the bottom and toward the bottom that you're almost just floating down the steps. We start at 10, standing at the top, a handrail at the side if you need it, safe and secure. We take our first step down to 9. That step, we feel the body shift down, and when we go down to the next step, at 8. Down to the next one at 7 and 6. To 5. It's like a gentle rock of the body back and forth as the next step at 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. When we get to the bottom step, finally, we can see in front of us a beautiful wall of mirrors. These mirrors are impeccably clean, and behind us we see a beautiful light. And as you walk up to the mirror, you can see staring back at you the vision of you that you want to be today. The vision of you who has this magical power, this ability to manifest anything they want. And when you think of you as having this ability, this special secret, this energy that can manifest, that can align, that can balance and connect to the universe, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What do you notice as you look in the mirror? How do you see yourself now? And in this moment, if you had the ability to influence or shift any behaviors or worries or thoughts or patterns, if you could infuse into your body through light and energy everything that you need to become the most powerful manifester, what would begin to move inward? How would you know that you have it? What would you notice? Feel your energy begin to balance. What is the energy that you feel when you are your manifesting self? And if you could step into the world in just a moment, we're going to open your eyes and you're going to have these traits, these characteristics. It's like a gift that you've given yourself. This is safe. We want you to take your hands and tap just on your shoulders, on your chest. Tap on your legs. Let your body know that this is safe. These characteristics, these feelings, these emotions of manifestation are safe. Tap it all the way through your body. Awaken every cell to this thought, this emotion, this feeling. This is safe. This is good. And then when you're ready, I invite you to take a nice deep cleansing breath. Because in a moment, you're going to open your eyes and the eyes will have a new lens that everything is an opportunity to be created, to be manifested. The way you're going to see the world is in motion, in action for you. So go ahead and open your eyes, joining me back here in the room.